All right. Shall we get cracking then?
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
Where's the music?
Oh.
Oh no, we don't do any music.
Don't do that in here anymore because it's rubbish, isn't it? I think you say this every single week, Dave. Every single week you would cut.
I like hearing my own voice, going, oh, welcome to the thing.
Oh, yeah, don't we know it? Tell me something I don't bloody know.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry. That was very harsh.
You will be.
Uncalled for.
Don't worry, I bear a grudge. It's all right.
She'll get you back, Ian. You know she will.
Yeah,
I won't let it
obviously.
go. Like a dog with a bone. I've got my Christmas balls on.
I beg your pardon.
Sorry, Ian.
Turn that camera off. Oh, B. Disgusting. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective. And today we are talking about the neurological levels of change, the 6 neurological levels of change. And I know what you're thinking. Ah, yes, Ian, the neurological levels of change. That old chestnut. I know it so well. For those of you who don't know what the neurological levels of change are, because I'll be honest, I'll admit it, I didn't know what it was when I first got into the coaching world. It is essentially different steps that will help you get from A to B in whatever change you want to make in your life. And those steps are your environment. So where are you? What can you change about your environment to help you make that change? Your behavior. What can you do differently? What are you currently doing that's holding you back? Your capabilities. So what skills and resources do you currently have? What skills and resources do you need to learn to achieve this change? Values and beliefs. So values, which you have heard me bang on about so much on this podcast, finding out the core values behind why you want this change. Why? And then beliefs, kind of things like, oh, I'll never lose weight. What are your beliefs about the change that you want to make in your life? And then identity. Who do I need to become to create this change in my life? Who am I currently? And then the vision, the bigger picture. What is my vision? What is my dream? What do I want to be part of? That is a very brief, high-level overview of the 6 neurological levels of change. And that's it. We're done.
The 6 what?
Thank you and good night.
The 6 what is?
The neurological levels of change.
Told you I'd get you back.
So, we shall first come to D. Why not? So, D, why don't you talk a little more about environment, maybe give an example or a little story that kind of helps hammer home what this element of these levels of change are. I'll refrain from using neurological because it's a big fancy word and it confuses me. Because I can't say it yet. Because you can't say it, you moron. The levels of change.
The levels of change. All right, okay. So, you did kind of come to me a little bit early because I was going to sort of come in from a vision perspective and work the other way.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for thinking you'd prepare for this.
Okay, well, I'll come in if you want, and you can go off.
Come on, B, you take over.
I'll go for it. Well, what I was going to say, first of all...
Sorry, B, hang on a second. So, D said we've come to her a bit early because she prepared for the final step in all 6 levels.
I was going to start from the... I was going to start from the top down.
All right, okay.
See?
Not work your way up.
Yes, work my way down. You see? But B, go for it.
Okay.
Sorry, B.
Well, what I was going to say is, first of all, they're the 6 levels that Ian talked about. And it's also a well-known sort of research done behind this, is that the higher the level, the more likely the change happens and stays in place. So Because when you start at number one, which is your environment, they're sort of the easier changes to make and probably the most logical changes that you can think about making. But the higher you go, the harder it becomes. And I don't mean hard as in, but you have to really dig deeper to understand things like your beliefs and values, because you may not actually know them, or you may think you know them, but when a coach starts asking you questions around them, you then start to realize that maybe that was a value you had, but maybe it doesn't align anymore, but you hadn't realized. And sort of when you get to identity, that's quite hard sometimes to understand your identity, where you fit into the world, and how comfortable you feel about where you fit into the world. And then sort of purpose. I think one is your environment, two is your behavior, three is your skills. Some of which you may be able to identify easily yourself, some of which a coach would help you find. And what I mean by that is, I think changes in environment and behavior, looking at behaviors that are maybe not serving you, is probably easier. The one that people find really difficult, I think, to talk about themselves, even though they know it, is their skills. Because it's a bit like blowing your trumpet, isn't it? It's a bit like saying, I'm capable of this, 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 and this. I just need to learn this, this, and this. And by nature, we feel that when we say we're good at something, we feel big-headed. So I think that's when it starts to get a little bit more challenging. But 4, 5, and 6, if you've never done any work on understanding yourself, your beliefs, your values, your purpose, your identity, I think that's when the benefit of coaching really comes into play. So that's just my take on it, really.
Yeah, so let's work on an example.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not a real life example, or maybe we can just make one up on the spot. But let's say, okay, so I am extremely unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get healthy, but I've tried it so many times, never works, always fall off the wagon. But it's something I really kind of want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think let's use that as an example, and let's start from there with environment. So what can I change in my environment? D, what would you kind of ask me for changing my environment?
All right, I will ask in a minute. So this is actually a really real example for me, because that's exactly what has happened with me. So I can tell you the environment for you where you're going, is well, are you making it easy for you to make a plan? Do you have a whiteboard with your food plan on it? Do you have your gym clothes by the door, ready to walk out the door every time you need to go to the gym? Do you have a fridge full of healthy food or unhealthy food? Do you have family and friends around you who are encouraging you to get takeaways every night? And all of this environmental factors are even though it's number one, one of the easier things to change is not always necessarily that easy, but it's your starting point. So I would say to you, you're always falling off the wagon. Are all these basic environmental things in place? Then you can go on to your behavior change, because having your gym shoes by the door ready to walk out and go running or to the gym, it's going to have an impact potentially on your behavior. Having the healthy foods in the fridge instead of the last night's takeaway pizza leftovers in the, instead of all that, that's going to impact your behavior, because if it's not there, you can't choose it, right? So your environment encourages or works against your behavior in that way. And then if we go on to the capabilities, your what you're capable of, like B was saying, it's very difficult sometimes to be really honest about our capabilities. But if we, in this example where you're trying to get fit, you're trying to make that sort of a change, I think, a measure is really important. You can start with measuring where you are, and then as your capabilities and your talent and your strength and your, as you increase in all the good things that you're looking for, your measure is going to help you to keep on track. And you might find that you actually are capable of more than you thought you were. And then we start hitting into the values, so where I said it was a real life example was because, I have been losing weight, putting on weight, losing weight, putting on weight most of my adult life, right? It's and it's a couple of stones here and there, and I've never felt totally out of control, or never felt totally happy, if you like, until quite recently. And that's because the things on the higher up the scale of the neurological levels have started to kick in. So really started to address why I wanted, what was it that made me want to have, the changes in my health. And then so these, this the kind of questions you might ask yourself, like, why is it important? Why is it so important that you make these changes? I'm stopping your input here if you want.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I've just gone through them all without any input. So
No, I was going to say I kind of use that example as well because it's me as well. I'm kind of doing that myself now. So I was always someone who was so active when I was younger. Like I'd be out with my friends every evening and weekend, like all day at the weekends on our bikes, going here, there, and everywhere constantly. And then when I went to university, I was on the rugby league team and we were playing football a couple of times a week. So I was constantly active. And then I got into the working environment and that just fell off a cliff and I did nothing. And it was great for a while. It was great doing nothing. But then started to obviously feel unhealthy, don't feel great, you're tired, all this kind of stuff. And so then I'd sign up to the gym thinking that's the answer to it. Let's just get to the gym. Well, then I'd be like, can't bother going. Can't be bothered going. Not for me. Not today. We'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow would come around and I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't go again. As I was just constantly on that cycle. And it wasn't anything to kind of lose weight or anything. I just wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
At least that's what I thought. And then when I came into kind of look at these neurological levels of change, my environment was, well, I'm paying for a gym, which I'm not using. I could just work out at home. There's so many workouts online now that you can do. So let's just do that. Behavior. I was setting alarms on my phone. But what I was doing on the alarm on my phone was putting in there the reason why I wanted to be healthy. So it was about understanding that why is this change important to me? And for me, it was about, I want to be healthy, strong, and powerful. And part of it is, so obviously, I love going hiking and in the mountains and stuff. As advertised, I had a little bear in the background, my little hiking bear. I want to be able to climb any mountain that I look at. I want to be able to know that I could physically get up that mountain. So that's part of it, but it's also part of it. Part of that vision is being healthy and strong for my family, making sure that I'm there to help however I can, in whatever way I can, and just being someone who is healthy. I just want to feel better. I don't want to constantly feel tired. So it's about understanding those more powerful reasons in the background, which then drive your behavior, I think, as well as just the environment. Having those values and beliefs in the background help push that behavior. And in terms of capabilities, which you were mentioning, perfect example for me was when I'm hiking with my friends, they were miles in front of me when we were on hikes. Like I could just see them as little dots in the distance. Whereas now I've been doing these exercising programs that I'm doing like constantly now for, I think it's 3.5 to 4 months now. That previous walk, I was just constantly there with them this time. So I wasn't miles behind and they weren't having to stop for me and wait for me. I was just there by their side the whole way round. So that was like my kind of understanding of what my capabilities are. And now my capabilities are so much more in front of where they were, which just kind of reinforces that understanding of how far you can come in such a short period of time as well for that specific thing, which then reinforces the belief of, oh yeah, I can actually do this. I can actually be that person.
So did you have the belief to start with? So, did you go into 3 or 4 months ago when you started this training that actually, just before we get to the identity level, I believe that I can do this. I believe that I know the reason why I want to do it. I know that there is capability there, right? I'm creating the environment. I'm doing the behavior. So the actual belief bit can be a bit of a game changer for so many people, because I know, looking back at my past with the health, all of that, is that often I didn't believe that I could, or that I might not have believed even that I was worthy of it, or all these sorts of beliefs can come in and slap you in the face when you're trying to make a change. That you could be in your 50s like me, and realize that actually all this time you've been trying to make a change when you don't really believe that you deserve it, so you can start addressing that, and then you grow into that person, you become that person. So you might say, I am a hiker, not I'm a person that hikes. I'm not a person that goes to the gym or that eats healthily. I am a healthy person, right? It's the difference between owning that identity and the balance of making the belief work for you and shifting a limiting belief or wherever once you get to that stage. And that's when you then go on to your vision. So in your example, Ian, what's your vision?
So just before I get to that, it's funny. I was so ridiculous. One of my beliefs around this was, you honestly, the things that go on in your head. How old am I? I am 38, I think. And I was saying to myself, like, just in the back of my head when I was thinking about doing this, before I kind of understood all this, was, well, I mean, I'll be dead in 40 years. What's the point? And I'm like, I'm not even 40 now. I'm not even 40 now. And I'm saying, well, I'll be dead in 40 years, so what's the point? That's what I was saying to myself. How ridiculous is that? Crazy.
That wasn't for real, right? That wasn't a real...
No, I was genuinely thinking that.
Oh, man.
I know.
God.
How ridiculous is it?
Oh.
So stupid. Honestly.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What's the point? I'll be dead in 40.
God.
Unbelievable.
Well, let's not expand that one, right? Okay.
Because it's so depressing.
It's really depressing. I mean, it's a really good example because a lot of people can identify with that. It's it's the only body we have, right? And so a lot of people have issues with what they want their body to be and what their body is and all the rest of it. And there's so much psychological stuff at play when you're talking about yourself and how you're being. And B, you work with a lot of people who have these sorts of things going on, and I think if you can get them up to that vision level, that we've covered this so many times, your why, your real deep down, your core belief, your core reason for being, your core reason for doing, and just absolutely having that unshakable vision in your head, then you have licked a change, I think, which is, and I'm still getting there, I'm still getting there with it. And I do have off days, and I do have bad days, and it comes and goes, but more often than not, I'm beginning to believe that I deserve it. That is me. Do you feel that way about your change, Ian?
So for me,
We're still up the mountain.
kill the man. I do. Yeah. In terms of, like I say, my belief was there was never a thing of can I do this, because I kind of knew I could, because I was always so active when I was younger. It was like, I know it's not an issue of can I do this. It was, for me, it was more a case of why. What's the point? Dead important.
Ian, we'll talk about that off camera, yeah?
We'll help you with that off camera.
I think you're in a de-coaching session there, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe not now, because like I say, it's so kind of ingrained now, because it's part of my vision in terms of how I want to feel, who I want to be, how I want to be for other people in my family, etc. As part of that vision, that now like I say, I've done like 3.5 to 4 months, like just constantly. I've had a week off this week purely because I injured my leg. Funnily enough, running down the stairs to answer the door.
You're right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm fine. Cheers, Mum. So yeah, no, it's so important to understand that why behind the goal.
Yeah.
And not just listening to the first answer, because if that's what I was doing. I was just listening to that first answer of, well, why do you want to go to the gym? Well, I just want to be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be healthy? So it's about getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, as we've talked about so many times on this podcast.
Yes, it's the core. It's the vision of our podcast.
Exactly. So why don't you talk to us a little more about the identity side of things and what that means, and how what kind of tips can people take away to understand the identity element of the 6 neurological levels of change? Nailed it.
Okay. In terms of, I just want to step back once to belief and values. And so much is led by the level of value you hold yourself in. Because if you don't value yourself enough, it doesn't matter how much you want it. Okay, you've got to understand that you're worthy of it and that you are valuable. Because so many women I work with have a lot of wants, but they have a lot of low self-worth. And that low self-worth comes from understanding you are valuable just as you are, without changing, without the need for changing. And once you can understand and actually accept yourself for who you are, making the changes you want to make come easier. Because you start to just value you as a person, as you stand in the world, okay? And I think without that, if you don't work on that part at the belief and value stage, regardless of the other beliefs and values, if you don't work on building that, getting to that identity stage, just, I don't know, you just find it harder to get further. You'll find it harder to get the vision. And you'll find it harder to stick to it, because there'll always be that nagging doubt, oh, well, maybe I'm not worth it, or maybe I'm not valuable enough, maybe it doesn't matter. Bit like Ian's, and that is a value thing as well, Ian. Oh, I'm 38, I might only live another 40 years, it doesn't matter. It's that kind of attitude. So I think that is the key area for me. Is that this is not just the beliefs, but the value that you place on yourself as a person.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about valuing the way you look or the way I'm talking about your intrinsic value. So when it comes to identity, it's the things that you tell yourself, a lot of identity, when you're looking at the things that you need to change. So it might be that you're saying, but I'm not athletic, so I won't be able to make these changes. Yeah. Or I don't like salad, so I won't be able to make these changes. I'm just giving some like things that I've heard in the past. Or I don't have time to cook, so I'm not going to be able to make these changes. Right. It's all the things that have been ingrained in us that equal health. Now, they're not all right. Okay. So, to be skinny is to be healthy. That's absolute rubbish. Okay. You can get really unhealthy, skinny people. Right? But to be, big is unhealthy. That's not necessarily right either. So it's all these things that we've learned about, because I can't run, or because I can't go to the gym, or because it's all the norms that we learn. And the one thing I had to learn personally about my identity was that I had to dig deeper to find out what it was that I would actually do as an exercise that I would stick to. Because I hate gyms with a passion, right? Really sorry, they are not me. I don't like running. There's quite a few normal things that people do, and I hear people do, that fill me with absolute horror. I might do them for 1, 2, or 3 times and be like, "No, I'm not." If I can't do something that brings me joy, also makes me feel good, without the terror of, oh my God, I'm going to go to the gym, there's going to be loads of skinny people there, I'm going to feel uncomfortable, or without the preconceptions, I won't do it. So I had to dig deeper and understand that exercise is movement. So when you take away the word exercise out of it and you change it to movement, it makes it so much more. So, what is movement? Movement is walking. Yeah. Movement is one of the things I do, dancing. Okay. Movement is archery. Movement is, I'm just trying to think of unusual things, but movement is anything that increases your heart rate, that gets you a little bit hot and sticky, that uses your energy. Yeah. That gets your parts of your body moving. And if you're thinking about getting healthier, but the barrier keeps coming up, oh, I don't like the gym. Oh, but I'm going to have to do this. Oh, but I'm going to have to do that. Yeah. I just changed that around and said, but I don't have to do any of that stuff. I just need to move and burn calories. How can I move and burn calories and do something that actually makes me happy? Right? And I think that's really important to understand you as a person, what makes you tick, enables you to put the things in place that help, let's say if you're getting healthy, that help you to get healthy. But there's things that you're going to enjoy, but you're going to stick to. But that's understanding you. So that's digging deeper. That's not just going, oh, I'm going to have to do this, that, and the other, and just all the stuff that people talk about. There are so many options to get healthier. Okay, there are just so many things. So understanding you helps you understand how you're actually going to make that happen, not just the want, how. And that's where I see identity. Identity is about understanding you.
I think you're kind of circling back there as well with the identity. You're circling back to, well, this is who I am. Now, what kind of changes can I make in the environment to suit who I am? So, understanding who you are, you've kind of circled it back to the beginning as well, and to help you kind of reinforce those initial steps that you've gone through. something like
Mm.
that. What else can we say about identity then? So for me, when I hear the word identity on these levels of change, it's who do I need to become to be that, to get that change?
Mhm.
And D, kind of the examples that you were giving earlier. I am a healthy person, that kind of thing. So what else can we say around that, if there is anything else at all?
On identity,
Mm.
I think we've pretty much got it covered.
It's possibly also, if someone's trying to get healthy, it'll be an element of movement and food. So rather than saying, "Oh, I don't have time to cook," I do have time to cook. I just need to work out how that works for me. So I may not be the person that wants to cook every night. So, okay, so what can I do in advance? Or there is nothing wrong. Everybody has this thing, when you're getting healthy, you've got to cook from scratch, and cooking from scratch takes time. Some people don't have the cooking skills or knowledge, okay, which you can get, obviously. But if you don't enjoy cooking and you want to get healthy, do you know what? There are so many other options now. I'm not talking about diet meals and things. I see what my stepson orders to help him with his workouts and protein, and the foods that are like he orders that are literally heat up type of foods, but they're really healthy heat up type of foods. But we're not in that market anymore of where we just have the choice of the diet company food that came in tiny little portions and you ate it and went, right, what's next? I'm still really hungry. There's lots of other options. And I think it's, again, like I've just said, being honest enough with yourself to go, I'm not going to cook every night because I don't enjoy it. So what can I do instead? Do you see what I mean? It's finding that it's that not one size doesn't fit all.
Exactly. Okay. Now vision then. So D, talk about vision. What does that mean along these levels of change?
Well, when I was sort of thinking about this, I have a client who is in this process right now, and they wanted to change something about the way that they think and deal with other people. And for so long, they've been reacting. And what's happened is through, and it's taken a while, but we've got to this stage where it's almost like they've shifted from being a person who always reacts to a person who always responds. And this was the change that they wanted to make. And so the vision of who they wanted to be, who they want to be remembered as, has gone from being this reactive, potentially not explosive, but just emotive person to being calmer, more responsive in a positive way, thinking about how another person is feeling before making their response. Now, we went through a lot of these neurological levels of change to get to this stage. And the reason they keep coming to mind is because we didn't necessarily go through all of them, you see. But that's why when you first started in, I was sort of thinking I was going to start with the vision and work backwards, because not everything is always relevant. And in this case, it wasn't relevant, but there was the belief there that they were behaving in a certain way. And there was a belief there, there was a value there that they wanted to behave in a different way to what they were currently doing. And the values outweigh those beliefs. If you really start to look at what those values are, why you want them, how your identity will change as you develop them. The beliefs also start to change, and then you end up with this person who now is living that vision that they wanted to become, and now they aren't that. They don't say, "I am." What was it? I don't do it this way, or I don't. It's not that I say the exact. I'm just being quite open about what the situation is, but it's like, so saying, well, I'm not going to exercise today. I am an athlete, right? And that difference is just so evident. It's just so evident in this person, but we didn't go through all of the factors because we didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
So just bear it in mind. I think if you're looking to make change of some sort, of any description, in the health one always comes to mind, but even in your job role, or in how you parent potentially, or that sort of thing, you don't have to look at everything. It may not be relevant. Does that answer your question?
No, but we'll take it.
Well, I kind of made it.
It does. I'm obviously just being a tosser.
No, I did. I know I sort of snaked it around really to get my story in, but I was just like,
I snaked it around to make it all about me.
well, come on.
B, anything else to add on to vision?
Really, I think it's when you start living your vision, and you get to that level when you're ready and you start actually living it as part of your life. So it's not something you have to remember to do. It's now ingrained, and you do it.
Yeah.
I think it's only then that you start to realize the benefits of it, and those benefits are far wider reaching than just maybe the initial things you started out with. Am I making sense? So you started out with I want this, this, and this. You get to that point where you start living it. It's become habit, a good habit, yeah. And then all of a sudden you realize, actually, I haven't just got this, this, and this. I've also gained this, this, and this. Do you see what I mean?
The people around you.
Yeah, exactly. The difference it makes in your personality, and we could easily, I could take that as me, and the conversation we had earlier about the difference in me in my new job role versus my old job role. Yeah. And
it's evident to us anyway.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
So it's the benefits aren't just the fact of the change of role, and they're far the change of role and the other things that come. The benefits are far further reaching than that. There's more. It's given me more than I anticipated, I think, is what I'm trying to say. And I think when you start really living your vision or your purpose, is when it's when you start to really realize the impact.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Your vision. That's another point, actually. If I could just add in there, live it, be it, even if you don't necessarily feel it at the time. Just if you put yourself into that person's mindset, that person that you want to be, even if you're not quite there yet, just be that person. It will come quicker.
Be it until you see it.
Be it until you see it, and then continue to be it. Just be it.
Exactly.
I mean, I know I did it for a long time. Was people say fake it till you make it, right?
I don't like that one. I feel like it's got a negative connotation to it, and people will just get subconsciously in the back of their head that, oh, well, I'm a fake now.
Yeah, but it can work for you, because it worked for it. I was a mantra of mine for a long time, for many years. Well, not many years, but a few years after my divorce, after my separation from my husband, because I just had to carry on. And even though I wasn't feeling like doing it from inside, I was just doing it. And it became a bit of a thing that I was just fake it till you make it go. Just keep going. It'll happen. This was even before I was thinking about any kind of coaching speak, or, even knew that coach was a job, right? Yeah. It's like, just do it. And so I think it was ingrained in me to be the person that I wanted to be at the end of that particular journey. And I think it helped.
Nice.
Check it out. Yeah.
Anything else to say before we wrap it up?
Do you? What about you?
Well, I've said plenty on
you have
pretty much all of these items previously on the podcast. I didn't hear that. What did you say? I missed that then.
You have. Right, come on, everyone. Let's wrap this up.
I genuinely can't hear what you're saying. I feel like I'm missing out on a joke.
You are.
Say it again.
No, you are. You'll have to listen back. You'll have to listen to the episode.
I've got to listen back to it. Damn it.
Yeah.
Are you taking the mick out on me? I bet you are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah. Okay.
Make it too easy sometimes. Come on, and you know that I hold a grudge. I told you that at the beginning of this session.
These headphones, these silly little toothbrush headphones. I should get proper
Why don't
ones.
you just do what me and I do, and just let our wonderful voices out into the ether?
Absolutely not. No chance. Absolutely not.
Listener, just so you know, Ian's lovely Nicola, he protects her from her ears, from our dulcet tones.
You know what she said? This proves she doesn't listen to the podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
So I've obviously had a gin and tonic with me. She's like, well, that's not very professional. I'm like, that shows why you clearly don't listen. You think it's professional, babe?
Yeah.
We are to a degree, let's be honest, but we do it in a fun and informative way.
We do.
Well, you might be. I'm not.
No, you're not. Right, come on, guys. I think that's a wrap, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you so much for listening, everyone.
And remember, folks. D, say it.
Be there.
Jesus Christ. Be bear.
Be naked.
One more thing before we go. Right, listeners. Okay,
What's
here's
it
the
now?
thing. Oh, no. This is the guys are going to kill me for this, but I'm putting it out there. If you want to see us do a live episode around Christmas time,
Christmas time. Mistletoe.
Send us a message.
Sorry.
And if we get enough people saying do a live episode, we are going to do a live episode. B, you in?
Alcohol included.
Oh, Vino, absolutely. Ian, are you in?
Nah, I'll leave it to it.
Wait,
Of course I am.
need...
Of course I am. I just realised.
Yeah.
You know what I've just realised? I'm sorry to cut you off, D. I do apologise, but I need to cut you off anyway. We said for all the December episodes, which this will be one, that we would wear our Christmas jumpers.
I've got a Christmas jumper. I didn't know it was a December episode.
And we're not wearing them. And this will be a December episode.
I've got my Christmas balls on.
I beg your pardon.
Sorry, Ian.
Turn that camera off. Oh, B. Disgusting.
I've got tartan on. That's Christmas.
Oh my goodness. Right. Okay. Right, folks, that is absolutely a wrap. Remember, get in touch if you want to see us do a like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. Pass this on to your mates. Come on. If you want to see us go live, mess this up actually live, then let us know.
No editing and no idea where it will go.
No, and until then, everyone, be there.
Be better.
And be naked.